Coming up on Mountain News this morning, an eastern Kentucky city shows its support for the people of Ukraine, and a museum in our region prepares to return to normal hours after being forced to make some changes due to COVID-19.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning to you. It is Thursday and it's almost 6:30 here. I'm Dakota Makris. And well, Brandon is shouting it's Friday Eve. So I guess Brandon just wants to talk this morning.
Come on, Friday Eve. So I told you I was going to do this.
I know.
And I gave you fair warning. So Dakota walks up a while ago where we had Doppler up, live pinpoint Doppler radar. He's like, what's these balls on the map here? You mean the radar sites? And he was just like, oh.
Brandon, I'm a journalist. I ask questions.
You did ask questions. I'll give you that one.
I honestly never even realized
But
they were
here's the
on there.
thing. It is an honest question because a lot of people who are not in weather don't realize that's what those are.
And we know I'm not in weather.
Exactly. There you go. Sometimes you don't even listen to the weather. But anyway, let's get into it this morning. I've given Dakota enough grief to start us out here. It is Friday Eve, as I was yelling a while ago, but it is foggy as well. The rain has moved out for this morning, and we'll see that fog be replacing that. So just be careful out there across the region, especially down toward I-75, dense fog toward Corbin, and some cooler air down that way too. 45 rather in Williamsburg, 46 in London. Those are the closest two sensors. There's actually a sensor in Corbin, but it would be too hard to try to get them in between the London and Williamsburg sensors there. 46 Harlan, 46 Hazard, 48 Pikeville and Logan, 44 Clintwood, 39 in Monticello, and 50 in Jonesville this morning. 60 this afternoon, maybe a little bit better in some areas, maybe a little cooler in some other areas, and then some spotty rain chances throughout the daytime hours, and then late tonight we could see some more as temperatures drop into the upper 30s. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Well, Kentucky State Police troopers tell us 2 people are dead following an early morning crash in Letcher County. Well, the crash happened on US 119 near the 2035 junction on Pine Mountain yesterday. Troopers received the call shortly after 8 o'clock Wednesday morning. Well, they tell us a tractor trailer carrying logs was unable to make the curve, ran into a ditch and flipped over on its top.
It just depends on the nature of the crash. Lots of different investigations like this take some time. It could be anywhere from a couple weeks to several months.
Well, right now, state police are not releasing the name of the driver and passenger as troopers work to notify their families. Well, 2 students are in custody after Jackson County deputies over in West Virginia found a handgun at a school. The sheriff is saying they avoided a tragedy yesterday. Sheriff Ross Mellinger says a 15-year-old Ripley Middle School student had a specific target that he was planning on shooting when he got to school. The student had a handgun and multiple rounds of ammunition on the bus heading to school yesterday morning. Well, the sheriff says the gun was actually stolen by the planned shooter's older brother during the weekend. Both brothers are in custody. The sheriff says this tragedy was avoided thanks to another student who grabbed the magazine of the gun when it was shown on the bus and alerted the school bus driver.
And it certainly could have been a lot worse, but it was very real, very humbling, very stressful to sit back and decompress now and look that this could have been the one that we all fear about.
Well, the sheriff says both brothers will face a number of felony charges. Since they are teenagers, their names will not be released. Parents say they are concerned for their students' safety, but they are glad there was not an actual shooting. And there is an additional investigation looking into a magazine with ammunition that was found at Ripley Middle School. Jackson County Superintendent Blaine Hess released a statement on the matter saying, quote, "The training of see something, say something certainly has paid off today. We train and rely on our students and staff to be alert to potential safety threats. This situation is an example of that training working as intended. I appreciate the quick response of school administrators and our sheriff's office to ensure the safety of our students and staff," end quote. Well, the FBI is warning parents to be aware as there's been an increase in reports of sextortion schemes. They say adults posing as young women are pursuing young boys to send sexual images and videos, then extorting money from them. Emily Bennett talked with FBI agents about their concerns.
It's a crime causing mental trauma.
We've seen suicides come as a result of this. It's a tragedy. It's a terrible tragedy.
The FBI receiving an increased number of reports of adults posing as young females, manipulating teenage boys into sending sexual photos or videos over social media apps, and in particular, video game portals.
They're building that trust, they're building that relationship, they're making these, a lot of them are adult men.
Once they have the explicit material, Special Agent Anthony Rousa says they then try to extort the victim for money.
Like, hey, pay up, or we're going to release this to your family, we're going to release this to your school, we're going to release this to the people in your church. And that level of just fear and anxiety and embarrassment builds up.
And what's most concerning to Agent Rousa is he believes it's significantly underreported.
These boys caught in this situation, they're embarrassed, they're traumatized by it, and they just don't want to come forward. It's human nature, right, to think that, hey, this is not happening in my backyard, even though it absolutely is happening in your backyard. And that the best defense against this is good parenting.
Urging parents to talk to their kids about thinking before they post, not talking to strangers online, and be aware people can pretend to be someone else, and photos are not proof a person is who they claim to be.
Shouldn't be any secrets on the phones that your teenagers have that you're paying for. You should be out there, find out what apps they're using, find out who they're communicating with.
Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, the agent says if this starts to happen or you feel you are a victim, report it to the FBI and do not delete any messages, as the FBI needs that information so it can find these people. Once a person is in possession of these pictures and videos, it's child pornography, which can carry a life sentence. Laurel County Sheriff's deputies reported the arrest of a man following a drug investigation and foot chase. We're told deputies were investigating a drug complaint when they saw Brandon L. Carr, who they believed was involved. Well, the suspect tried to run when deputies approached him and dropped a black box while trying to escape. After a short chase, the deputy was able to catch the suspect and took him into custody following a struggle. Carr was taken to the Laurel County Correctional Center. Well, the ongoing war and resulting humanitarian crisis in Eastern Europe has resulted in an outpouring of support, including right here in the Commonwealth. A Georgetown couple is back home after spending weeks at the Poland-Ukraine border. Linda and Robert Cornett say they were tired of watching the news out of Ukraine and wanted to do something. Well, so they booked flights to Poland. Robert shuttled refugees from the border to safety. Linda helped mothers and babies in a tent on the Ukrainian side.
And the only time anything was unusual at all was we were actually at the border. And then you're seeing obviously people coming across the border and the chaos trying to get them organized there, but perfectly safe. And the only reason somebody not to go is that they just don't have the time and the resources to get over there.
The Cornets say one of the most surprising parts of their trip has actually been the reception since coming home. One Eastern Kentucky city is showing its support for Ukraine as the war with Russia continues. If you drive through downtown Jenkins and Letcher County, you can find Ukrainian flags. Mayor Todd DePriest tells us the city put up the flags to show support for Ukraine and its people. Well, he says they plan to keep the flags up through festival season or even longer. And church and city officials in Jenkins also hosted a prayer vigil for Ukrainians Wednesday evening. Priests from area churches offered prayer and music in support of those suffering as a result of the war. Organizers told us they were moved by the horrific images coming out of the war-torn country during the weekend and felt compelled to do something to show support. The Big Sandy Heritage Center Museum in Pike County has a bit of everything when it comes to the region's storied past, and it's finally returning to its normal operating hours. Jordan Mullins is in Pikeville, where museum and city officials are excited about the museum's official reopening this weekend.
The Big Sandy has a rich history, and the Big Sandy Heritage Center Museum has a bit of everything, from more than 500-year-old Native American jewelry to the complete history of the Hatfield-McCoy feud.
Pikeville, Pike County has a very vibrant history with the Hatfield-McCoys, with their coal mining heritage, music heritage. There's a whole range of things to talk about.
But the museum struggled during the pandemic, closing its doors for some time but remaining semi-open for appointments and the occasional tour.
We've probably done pretty fair on individual attendance. Where we've lost during the pandemic is on tours. We get several booked bus tours usually come through.
Starting April 10th, the museum will be officially reopening and returning to pre-pandemic hours, much to the delight of city and museum officials. allowing tourists to come in and learn about the region's history.
It's really important to have a place that all of that material is located. There's people there that can answer your questions. There's exhibits that kind of walk you through the history of it.
While locals and young people can come and celebrate their roots.
I think it's very important. That's something I think people need to learn, especially the younger generation, is that we have a history, that we have a heritage.
Remembering, celebrating, and building upon the heritage of Eastern Kentucky. In Pikeville, Jordan Mullins, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, Hatcher said it is important for people to learn our history and respect our heritage. The Appalachian Arts and Entertainment Awards are hitting the Mountain Arts Center stage in Prestonsburg this weekend. The second awards show kicks off Saturday, bringing people from across the region to the first in-person event. Organizers have been preparing for months and are putting the finishing touches on the MAC this week. Anxious to see the space full of life as they celebrate Appalachian talent Saturday night.
It really shows what we have in Appalachia in the 13 states. It shows that we can be the core, the center of that industry here in East Kentucky. And it's just going to be a really special night to showcase all the unbelievable talent.
The show kicks off Saturday at 7 p.m. and will be recorded for a later broadcast. But if you want to see the celebration in person, tickets are still available for the event, which will include a red carpet celebration and more.
6:40 here on this Friday Eve, Thursday morning, and temperatures basically in the 30s, 40s, but no more 50s. Jonesville down to 48 now, 39 in Monticello to 49 in Prestonsburg is our range this morning, but a lot of low to mid 40s out there, which was what we kind of expected to be this time of the morning as we head towards 7 o'clock. We'll see the breakfast forecast taking us up into the upper 40s later this morning, but we'll see the sunshine today. It's going to take us up to about close to 60, but some rain chances are still possible this afternoon, so keep that rain gear handy. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you so much. It's 6:41 here. Still to come on Mountain News this morning. Scientists make an alarming discovery that could possibly be found in our lungs. That's next.